Arizona is a state that seems to have been designed for cinema. Its arid landscapes, rocky mountains, and dusty towns evoke scenes of cowboys, duels at dawn, and saloons with swinging doors. Even though time has passed, there are still places where life preserves that frontier spirit, as if every street were part of a Western script. I didn't believe it either, until I walked through their streets. In these towns, life is measured differently. Desert dust accompanies every step. Markets sell leather crafts and dried chilies as if time had never moved forward, and cafes still serve cheap coffee, accompanied by conversations that stretch out on porches at sunset. Today, I want to take you with me to discover 8 desert towns in Arizona, places where visiting, or even retiring, means living inside a Western movie, with all its dust, its drama, and its charm. 8. Tombstone, the legend that never dies. Tombstone is not just a town, it is a myth that still breathes in the middle of the Arizona desert. Founded in 1877, its name already seemed like an omen. Tombstone evoked death and danger, and it soon became the stage for one of the most famous episodes of the Old West, the shootout at the OK Corral. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, and the Clanton brothers starred in a confrontation that was etched into collective memory, and that, to this day, continues to be reenacted in the town streets as if time had never passed. Walking through Tombstone is like stepping into a movie. Wooden facades, saloons with swinging doors, dusty sidewalks, and actors staging midday duels make every visitor feel part of a classic Western. Desert dust rises with the wind, horse hooves echo through the streets, and the sound of boots on wood reminds you that history here is not told, it is relived. The architecture preserves the essence of the 19th century. Historic buildings, some restored and others kept with the wear of time, bear witness to an era when the silver rush attracted fortune seekers, outlaws, and merchants. The Mining Museum, the Birdcage Theatre, and the OK Corral itself are must-see stops for those who want to feel like they're inside a movie set. Even the bars and restaurants maintain the cowboy aesthetic, with leather decor, iron lamps, and old photographs that seem to watch visitors from another era. The climate reinforces this atmosphere. Summers are dry and hot, with temperatures reaching 35 degrees Celsius. The sun beats relentlessly on the dusty streets, and the sensation is the same as cowboys must have felt riding under that blazing sky. Winters, on the other hand, are mild, with lows that rarely drop below 5 degrees. This stability allows historical reenactments, festivals, and fairs to be held throughout the year, strengthening the idea that Tombstone is a permanent stage. Daily life here feels like a historical ritual. Markets sell leather crafts, cowboy hats, and Old West souvenirs. Cafes offer simple breakfasts for under $10, and local restaurants serve hearty plates of meat and beans, as if taken straight from a 19th century cantina menu. A bag of fresh products at the market can cost less than $20, and renting a small house averages around $1,200 per month, making Tombstone an accessible place for those who want to live surrounded by history. Retirees who come here find more than tranquility. They find belonging. The community organizes festivals that reenact battles, country music fairs, and celebrations that keep the memory of the Old West alive. Taking part in these activities means integrating into a routine measured not by clocks, but by traditions. For them, retiring in Tombstone means living inside a legend, with the certainty that each day can bring a show, a story, or a conversation that feels like it came straight out of another era. Before moving on to town number 7, and continuing to reveal these desert corners of Arizona that look like scenes from a Western movie, I invite you to subscribe to my channel and leave a like if you want to stay well informed and always make the best decisions for your future. 7. Bisbee. Mining charm turned into art. Bisbee is a town that seems to live in two times at once. On one hand, it preserves the memory of its mining origins, when in the late 19th century copper made this community one of the most prosperous in Arizona. On the other, it has transformed into an artistic and bohemian refuge, where galleries, murals, and cafes fill the streets with color. This duality makes it a unique stage, a place where the Old West blends with contemporary creativity, and where walking through its streets feels like wandering through a western with surrealist touches. The colorful houses built on the mountainside seem to defy gravity. Their iron balconies, narrow stairways, and facades painted in vivid tones contrast with the desert dust that sneaks into every corner. Strolling through the historic center, one can imagine miners coming down from the hills with boots covered in dirt, while today artists display their work in improvised galleries. This mix of past and present gives Bisbee a cinematic air. Every street is a stage, every corner a story. The copper mine, once the economic heart of the town, is now a museum open to the public. Visitors can descend into the tunnels, feel the chill of the earth, listen to miners' stories, and understand how Bisbee's wealth was born from human effort. That experience is like stepping into a documentary-style western, where the harshness of labor blends with the hope of fortune. The climate in Bisbee is mild for a desert town. Summers reach highs of 30 degrees Celsius, but the altitude softens the heat, making walks through the steep streets pleasant. Winters are cool, with lows dropping to zero, and nights fill with a crisp air that invites you to take shelter in historic bars. This variation reinforces the feeling of being in a living stage, where each season changes the town's palette of colors. Daily life in Bisbee carries a bohemian air. Markets sell local fruits, artisan bread, and cured cheese at affordable prices. A bag full of fresh products can cost less than $20, and eating in a family cafe ranges between $12 and $15 per person. Bars host live music, from folk to jazz, and galleries organize exhibitions that turn the streets into an open museum. For retirees, this cultural life is the perfect complement. Painting workshops, community fairs, and outdoor concerts allow them to integrate without needing large expenses. The average rent for a two-bedroom apartment is around $1,300, slightly higher than in other towns due to tourism. However, living in Bisbee means joining a vibrant community where mining history blends with artistic creativity. Retirees who choose this place find a balance between tranquility and movement, between the nostalgia of the Old West and the energy of a town that never stops reinventing itself. 6. Jerome, the ghost town that comes alive every night. Jerome is a place that seems to exist in two dimensions: the past, marked by mining fever and decline, and the present, where art and tourism have breathed life back into a town that was once nearly abandoned. Founded in the 19th century as a mining camp, Jerome became one of Arizona's most prosperous towns thanks to copper. However, when the mines closed, the population dropped dramatically, and the town was left with the label of ghost. Walking through Jerome feels like wandering through a Gothic western. Wooden houses, many tilted by the mountainous terrain, look like sets from a decaying film. Weathered facades, balconies creaking in the wind, and steep, dusty streets evoke the sensation that time has stopped. Yet behind this ghostly appearance, Jerome pulses with energy. Bars with live music, contemporary art galleries, and shops selling local crafts fill its streets with life. The atmosphere is unique. During the day, the sun lights up the hills and reveals the remnants of mining. Rusted structures, abandoned tunnels, and machinery that looks like it belongs in an open-air museum. At night, the warm lights of bars and restaurants transform the town into a vibrant stage. Visitors mingle with locals. Folk music and alternative rock fill the air, and Jerome ceases to be a ghost town, becoming instead a lively meeting place. The climate reinforces this duality. Summers are warm, with highs around 32 degrees Celsius, perfect for strolling the streets and enjoying panoramic desert views. Winters, on the other hand, are cold, with lows that can drop to -5 degrees. Occasional snow blankets the tilted houses and narrow streets, giving the town an even more spectral air. This variation makes Jerome a changing stage, where each season offers a different palette of colors and sensations. Daily life here carries an artistic and alternative vibe. Markets sell artisan bread, local honey, and fresh vegetables at affordable prices. A bag full of basic products can cost less than $20, and dining in a restaurant ranges between $15 and $20 per person. Bars serve craft beers and host live music, while galleries organize exhibitions that turn the streets into an open museum. For retirees, this cultural life is the perfect complement. Painting workshops, community fairs, and outdoor concerts allow them to integrate into a community that celebrates creativity as much as history. Rent for a small home averages around $1,200, similar to the national average. Although tourism has driven some prices up, living in Jerome means joining a vibrant community where mining memory blends with artistic energy. Retirees who choose this place find a balance between tranquility and movement, between the nostalgia of the Old West and the vitality of a town that never stops reinventing itself. 5. Sandpoint, Idaho, the mirror of the lake that holds secrets. Dawn in Sandpoint does not announce itself with noise, but with reflections. The sun slowly rises over Lake Pendore, and the water becomes a mirror holding the secrets of mountains and clouds. The hills surrounding the town seem to guard it, like natural walls protecting an intimate stage. Here, life is measured in landscapes. The shimmer of water at sunrise, the crunch of snow underfoot, the murmur of conversations in cafes by the lake. Sandpoint has a contemplative air. It is not a town that seeks to impress with grand facades or tourist spectacles. Its charm lies in the everyday. Lakeside cafes offer full breakfasts for under $10, and family restaurants serve lunches between $12 and $15. Markets sell fresh fish, artisan bread, and local fruits, and a bag full of basic products can cost less than $20. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around $1,700, though more affordable options can be found on the outskirts, closer to $1,200. The cost of living is only about 3% lower than the national average, though some reports place it up to 30% higher due to tourism pressure. This duality makes Sandpoint a place where the key is choosing wisely. Living outside the center and taking advantage of the off-season allows pensions to stretch much further. The climate is defined by the seasons. Summers are warm, with highs of 28 degrees Celsius, perfect for swimming or boating. Winters, however, are cold and snowy, with lows that can drop to -10 degrees. That snow turns Sandpoint into a destination for skiing, while more than 200 sunny days a year guarantee light and energy even in the harshest seasons. Daily life here carries a lakeside rhythm. Retirees gather in plazas or by the lake to chat as the sun sets behind the mountains. Music festivals and art fairs strengthen community bonds, and the presence of tourism adds movement, without breaking the town's essential calm. Routine here feels like a contemplative journey, where each day can be different. A boat ride, a walk along the shore, an evening of folk music under the stars. As for services, Sandpoint has local clinics and access to larger hospitals in Coeur d'Alene, just over an hour's drive away. Public transportation is limited, but the community organizes activities and rides, and most residents get around by car. Retirees find here a safe environment with cultural activities that complement life close to nature. 4. Patagonia, the natural refuge with a frontier spirit. The first sound you hear in Patagonia is not the roar of engines or the echo of crowds, but the song of birds flying over the mountains and the murmur of the wind brushing against quiet streets. This small town in southern Arizona seems to exist in an in-between state, lively enough to preserve its identity, yet silent enough for every visitor to feel as though they've stepped into a frontier setting, as if the Old West still breathed through its houses and plazas. Patagonia does not present itself with grand facades or staged historical reenactments. Its charm lies in the everyday, in community markets where neighbors sell homemade bread, local honey, and fresh vegetables. In cafes, where a full breakfast costs less than $10 and is accompanied by conversations that linger without hurry. In streets, where children play under the shade of trees and elders sit on porches watching the day dissolve slowly. The air here feels different. Despite being surrounded by desert, the nearby mountains soften the climate. Summers reach highs of 30 degrees Celsius, but breezes cool the afternoons, making walks along the trails a pleasure. Winters rarely drop below zero, allowing for a stable routine throughout the year. This stability makes Patagonia a place where life feels constant, without extremes that force changes in habits, as if time itself had refused to move forward. The atmosphere is profoundly cinematic. Walking through its streets, one can imagine caravans of merchants crossing the frontier, cowboys resting on porches, and musicians improvising folk melodies in the plazas. There are no artificial sets or actors staging duels. Patagonia's authenticity lies in its simplicity. Every corner feels like a frame from a frontier western, where silence is the protagonist and nature becomes the backdrop. The cost of living here is accessible. The average rent for a home is around $1,000, and a bag full of fresh fruits and vegetables can cost less than $20. Dining in a family restaurant ranges between $10 and $15 per person, with portions that are usually generous. For retirees, this simple economy is the perfect complement. Pensions stretch without strain, and the community offers cultural and natural activities that enrich daily life without requiring large expenses. But what truly distinguishes Patagonia is its community spirit. Folk music festivals, artisan fairs, and local celebrations turn each season into an opportunity to gather. In autumn, harvest festivals fill the streets with aromas and colors. In spring, artisan fairs display textiles and ceramics that reflect the town's identity. In summer, folk concerts light up the nights with guitars and voices that seem to narrate frontier stories. 3. Franklin, Tennessee. Between southern calm and the echo of the Old West, the sound of 19th-century church bells marks the start of the morning in Franklin. It is not a desert town like those in Arizona, but its southern air and history make it a setting that could easily belong to a frontier western. Cobblestone streets, old houses, and cafes in the historic center seem to hold secrets from another era, as if time had refused to erase the traces of duels, fairs, and porch conversations. Franklin began as an agricultural and commercial community, but soon became a strategic point during the Civil War. That memory still lingers in its streets. Commemorative plaques, houses that survived the conflict, and museums that recount battles shaping the South's identity. Walking through the center feels like moving through a stage where history blends seamlessly with daily life. Cafes serve full breakfasts for under $10. Bookstores sell antique editions, and local markets display fresh fruits and artisan bread. The climate reinforces this atmosphere. Summers reach highs of 32 degrees Celsius, with sunny days inviting strolls through the historic center. Winters are mild, with lows that rarely drop below -2 degrees. This stability makes Franklin a place where outdoor life remains active year-round. Concerts in plazas, artisan fairs, and country music festivals fill the streets with energy. Daily life here feels comfortable and accessible. Supermarkets offer reasonable prices. A bag full of fresh fruits and vegetables can cost less than $20. Dining in a family restaurant averages $15 per person, while a dinner for two in a mid-range establishment can cost around $60. The average rent for a two-bedroom apartment is about $1,600, while a three-bedroom can exceed $2,500. Although the cost of living is roughly 5% higher than the national average, the quality of life more than compensates. Franklin is not a town frozen in time. It is a community that has successfully integrated modernity with tradition. Retirees enjoy well-kept parks, public libraries with free activities, and community centers that organize art and music workshops. Its proximity to Nashville ensures access to top-tier hospitals and a cultural scene that includes concerts, museums, and festivals. For them, retiring here means living with the tranquility of a small town and the conveniences of a nearby city. But what truly sets Franklin apart is its historic air. Its streets preserve 19th century houses, and cafes in the center still serve breakfasts for under $10. Neighbors know each other, plazas fill with artisan fairs, and the community maintains a safe and welcoming environment. Every corner feels like a movie set, where history blends with modern life, and each day can feel like a scene from a southern western. Before continuing to town number 2 and uncovering more of these desert corners of Arizona that look like scenes from a western movie, remember to subscribe to the channel and leave a like to stay up to date and avoid costly decisions in the future. 2. Street George, Utah. The city of eternal Sunday. The desert of southern Utah holds a luminous secret. Street George, known as the City of Eternal Sun. Here, life is not measured by clocks or seasons, but by the intensity of the light that bathes every street, every mountain, and every plaza. With more than 300 sunny days a year, this town has become a magnet for those seeking to escape long, cold winters, and a setting that feels straight out of a Western movie where the sun is the protagonist and the sand is the backdrop. The first impression upon arrival is the immensity of the landscape. The desert stretches out like an ocean of sand and rock, and the red mountains surrounding Street George rise like natural walls protecting a cinematic stage. The dry air, the intense heat, and the clarity of the sky create an atmosphere reminiscent of classic westerns. Horses crossing dusty trails, cowboys resting in the shade of a porch, and caravans moving slowly toward the horizon. The climate is extreme, but it is also its greatest attraction. Summers reach highs of more than 38 degrees Celsius, with days that seem endless under an unforgiving sun. Winters, on the other hand, are mild, with lows that rarely drop below 5 degrees. This stability makes Street George a place where outdoor life never stops. Hikes along desert trails, bike rides, golf courses stretching under the sun, and open-air concerts that light up the nights. Daily life here revolves around the outdoors. Markets sell fresh desert fruits, dates, and local products at affordable prices. A bag full of vegetables can cost less than $20, and cafes offer simple breakfasts for under $10. Dining in a family restaurant averages $13 per person, while dinner for two in a mid-range establishment can cost around $50. The average rent for a two-bedroom apartment is about $1,300, while a three-bedroom can reach $1,800. Overall, the cost of living is approximately 8% lower than the national average, meaning pensions stretch further when it comes to housing and food. But beyond the numbers, what sets Street George apart is its atmosphere. The streets are full of life, neighbors greeting each other, tourists browsing markets, musicians improvising in plazas. The community organizes cultural and sporting activities, art fairs, golf tournaments, open-air concerts. Each event reinforces the sense of belonging, as if the entire city were a stage where everyone plays a part. Retirees find here a safe and active environment. Modern hospitals and specialized clinics guarantee quality healthcare, while parks and trails provide spaces to walk, converse, and enjoy nature. Retiring in Street George means living with energy and light, with the certainty that the climate is always on your side and that each day can be different. 1. Asheville, North Carolina. The stage where Bohemia never sleeps. Not all towns that feel like they're straight out of a Western movie are in the desert. Some, like Asheville, hide among green mountains and luminous skies, yet preserve that frontier atmosphere, that sense of community living between history and reinvention. Asheville is a place where Bohemia blends with Southern tradition, and where every street feels like an open stage, ready to become part of a cinematic narrative. The first impression upon arrival is energy. Asheville vibrates with art, music, and murals, telling stories on every corner. Downtown cafes serve espressos for $3, but what you're really buying is time. Hours of conversation, improvised debates, and melodies accompanying the city's murmur. Markets sell artisan bread and fresh vegetables for less than $20 a bag, and plazas turn into improvised stages where street musicians fill the air with jazz, folk, and blues. The climate supports this vitality. Summers reach highs of 30 degrees Celsius, with warm days inviting strolls through the streets and participation in festivals. Winters are mild, with lows that rarely drop below -2 degrees, allowing for an active lifestyle year-round. More than 220 sunny days illuminate concerts, book fairs, and community celebrations, reinforcing the feeling that Asheville never sleeps. Daily life here is a creative mosaic. Retirees paint in community workshops, young people fill the streets with indie music, and plazas become improvised stages. Regional hospitals guarantee quality healthcare, and transportation connects historic neighborhoods with modern areas. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around $1,300, slightly higher than the national average. But what you get in return is invaluable. A cultural environment that never stops. Asheville is not just a town, it is packed with creativity. Its streets are filled with murals narrating stories of resistance, bohemia, and community. Cafes become spaces for debate, bookstores refuges for ideas, and bars stages for improvised music. Each day is different. Each corner offers a new experience, and each conversation feels like part of a larger narrative. At nightfall, Asheville transforms into a cinematic stage. Lights illuminate murals, bars fill with music, and plazas vibrate with energy. Neighbors gather to share stories, tourists mingle with the community, and the entire town seems to participate in a movie that never ends. Outside, the mountains remind you of their presence with the murmur of the wind. But inside the city, the feeling is one of celebration, belonging, and life. For retirees, settling here means more than saving money. It means living surrounded by art, history, and community. The cost of living is slightly higher, but the reward is a cultural and natural environment unlike any other. Asheville offers excitement, light, and belonging, becoming a place where retirement transforms into a second youth, where each day can be different, and where life is measured in experiences that leave a mark. Asheville is the perfect closing chapter of this journey. It not only offers reasonable prices and modern conveniences, it offers emotion, creativity, and community. It is the place where retiring means being reborn, where each day feels like a movie scene, and where life is measured in shared moments. And so, after this journey through 8 desert towns in Arizona that, at first glance, seem like true Western movie sets, places where dust, mountains, and dusty streets still preserve the essence of another era. The big question arises, which of these 8 would you choose as your favorite at first sight? I'd love to hear your opinion. Have you visited any of them, lived in any of them, or do you know someone who has? Any experience or information you share in the comments could be very helpful for those considering moving or retiring to a place where time seems to have stood still. And speaking of helping, it might also be useful to watch the video I'm showing you right now. Because, as you know, staying informed is key, and for that, there's nothing better than subscribing to the channel and leaving a like, so we can continue exploring together the best and sometimes most surprising places to enjoy life without spending a fortune.